Me again, hear about some boundaries this time. Again, actually. One of the conversations that's been coming up as I've been talking about saying no and setting boundaries is feeling a whole lot of guilt about it. That often when people say no to something or think about saying no to something or someone, they feel a whole bunch of guilt. And that can be one of the things that prevents people from following through with setting the boundary or saying no. And so I just wanted to address what that guilt can be about. Often guilt comes from an experience of what I want or need is in conflict with what somebody else wants or needs. And that could be like a societal norm about what should be acceptable or not. Like I should want to go to parties when I don't actually want to go to parties. Um, in my family, it's normal to say yes to X, Y, Z, and I don't actually want to. That those are some like those are examples of how what you want or need is out of alignment with what the prevailing thought is about it. And what you get to understand or take responsibility for, or take ownership of, is that what you need and what you want is actually where your true north lives, not in what everybody else wants or needs. And the guilt comes from as well feeling responsible for how other people feel. Um, when there's an overreach of responsibility for someone else's emotional state, guilt can show up. So, this idea that you make someone feel a particular way, or something that somebody does makes you feel a particular way, you have a response to how somebody reacts, or somebody has a response to how you are behaving, but you're not making them feel that way. Their response and your response comes from your own stuff, how you're interpreting what happened, what you're making all of it mean about you, about the relationship, etc. You're not responsible for other people's feelings, responsible for impact, but not responsible for someone's feelings. And so if someone is hurt or angry, or feels inconvenienced or frustrated by you setting a boundary or saying no to something, that's not your responsibility to fix. That actually, that responsibility lies over there with them. And you can have a conversation with them about it, you can talk about it, but it is not your job to try to make them feel less of whatever the thing is that they're feeling. So, just wanted to be really clear when it comes to this topic of boundaries and saying no, and all the stuff that comes up for everybody when we look at stepping into that space. It's really starting to draw some very clear lines around what is your responsibility in a relationship versus what is somebody else's responsibility in a relationship. And a great quote from some teachers of mine from long ago, the houses from the Coaches Training Institute, they talk about you are 50% or 100% responsible for your 50% of a relationship. And I think that's a really fair guideline to use in these sorts of things when you're trying to figure out what is my responsibility here. My job is to take care of my side of things, be clear about my side of things, operate with integrity around my side of things, be respectful around my side of things, be honest in my side of things. But it's not my job to manage how you are responding or feeling to those things. And then I have to change my behavior or compromise what works for me so that you don't feel upset or hurt or angry. Um, Obviously, we still treat people with respect, and we, pay attention to how other people feel. We don't just ignore that and make it all about ourselves. But there's definitely a space where the overreach into taking care of somebody else's feelings starts to step on our needs and what works for us. And it's really important to be conscious of that boundary, conscious of that line, and then stand powerfully in it for yourself. So guilt is a kind of made up emotion that's there to help uh, people around you or the sources around you uh, keep you doing the things that everybody doing the things that you've already sort of conformed to doing. It's part of controlling you. And so I think it's really important to just be responsible for that, think about that, and get that guilt is kind of a made up thing that you can just push off to the side when you're standing powerfully in what matters to you and what you need, what you want, where your limits are, and you're expressing those, that guilt doesn't need to step into any of that. And you can just turn that off or push that off to the side. This is a really big conversation. As I'm starting to talk about it, I'm thinking it's a really big conversation. So if you have any questions or specific situations that you're dealing with around guilt and saying no and how that shows up and what stops you, please feel free to shoot me a DM, leave something in the comments, and let me know. I'd be happy to address any of those sorts of things. If you found value in the conversation, please like and share the video. And yeah, I look forward to continuing on this journey with you. I hope you're having a wonderful day.